Welcome back, everyone. This is your favorite show, or soon to be a favorite show, Tisa and Nurture, the people takes in, the guys behind the articles, videos, and social media. We're on episode three, somewhere I thought we'd never get to, but here we are. So, like always, I'll let the team introduce themselves.
I'm Farai. I'm responsible for articles. What else? I don't know, man. You'll find me on Twitter most of the times saying senseless stuff. But yeah, that's me.
The Twitter warrior.
I'm Shami. I am the social media editor at TechZim.
And I'm Ed. I'm making videos, cool ones. You should check them out.
And last but not least, or last but least, Valentine, again, one of the writers, um, aspiring podcaster, um, hopefully soon to be an influencer if this goes big. Um, Sony, Xbox, even HP. If you need someone to market your products, I'm here.
Shoot your shot, mate.
I am trying.
Really looking for advertisers.
Listen, I would be a Zuma influencer if I could.
Secure the bag. Secure the bag. Just go to
Chikuru bita mara, did you? So, like all the
Yeah.
well, our previous reports,
I suppose.
I suppose. So our previous lineup is two. So then the format is just simply we talk about things that are on our mind at this point in time. So I get to pick on who goes first. And there's one person who hasn't. I think they know themselves. Well, there are two people, but excluding me, the one person knows themselves.
I suppose it's me, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Who else?
I wasn't sure, man. I wasn't sure, but I am prepared. There's a lot on my mind, but maybe the most interesting thing is so I'll give some context and then go to my actual question to you guys. So the context is I don't know if last week you guys noticed when Jah Prayzah was nominated for a certain award, he took to his Twitter and he asked people to vote for him in that award, and people refused to vote for him because um, a month or two ago, when the Zim Lives Matter hashtag was trending, people asked celebrities like Jah Prayzah to lend their voice to the movement, and I think Jah Prayzah was silent. So people didn't vote for him, and this was revenge because he had been silent during Zim Lives Matter. So what's on my mind is, um, do you guys think celebs should lend their voices to social movements? And maybe do you think it was right that people refused to vote for him when he was nominated for this award? What's your take on that?
Pretty interesting thought, that one. I remember you mentioning it, yeah, like a while back when the hashtag was trending. I still remember you mentioned something on Twitter. Like you said, he talks a lot of senseless stuff on Twitter, but sometimes it strikes gold. Anyways,
There's
so
some sense in there at times.
at times. So it's pretty interesting because it's not just in Zim, hey, like the world over, there was that curiosity of, hey, you're an influencer of some sort, even though one of us hates that word, and you and you have a following, and this following, you could use it to perpetuate something that is regarded by society as good, which at that moment in time was the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement. And there is that question of, hey man, just because I have a lot of people following me, does that mean that I have to support everything that's going on around me?
Or does it mean I have to speak on this?
Yeah, or do I have to speak on this, And there are some guys that were positively like pushing forward the cause, but there were others that were giving a really compelling argument. One of the guys was, it should have been MKBHD, I think, because he's also a very popular YouTuber. He's black, and yeah, it might be in America, but hey, like I loved his argument. His argument was, look, just because I'm not talking about these things doesn't mean I'm not in support of them, neither does it mean I am against them or something like that. But I would want the work that I do to be something in and of itself that addresses such situations in a manner of, like uplifting people with my content. So, for example, I would say in the context of Jah Prayzah, he's one of the only artists that actually had a song dedicated to the cyclone that happened in the eastern parts of Zimbabwe, the cyclone Idai, catastrophe, because that was a catastrophe. Yeah, and he's the only one who actually dedicated a track to that, So in a sense, I would say he did something.
Only one is a stretch. I think only one might be a stretch.
Okay, yeah, only one might be a stretch, but like
but
the most prominent.
But I do get your greater point.
That's just what I think, that through his works, he's saying, hey, instead of just putting a hashtag on my social, why don't I create content that both entertains and brings awareness? So I don't know if he has created anything around the Black Lives Matter movement, but just because he wasn't speaking about it or talking about it explicitly, I feel doesn't mean that he wasn't part of that. I don't know if my point is coming through across, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah. So it wasn't even about being part of that. So the argument was, by him not speaking out, he's actually ZANU PF, which on social media, at least on Twitter, largely is the enemy. That's how far it was. And I think I do agree with you in that. At least my view is content creators give us art. At least they've dedicated their lives to giving us art, and I think he makes like pretty amazing music. So for me, at least from my perspective, I don't necessarily need him to lend his voice to a movement. I think the music is enough for me. I think the music is great. It uplifts me and whatnot. I don't necessarily care if he speaks on these movements, but that's just my view. I don't know, Shami, Valentine, where do you guys stand?
Yeah, for me, I feel like we first have to start with the fact that people should stop feeling entitled to other people's opinions or what they should speak on or what they shouldn't speak on. He has every right to remain silent about something, and his fan base has every right to no longer support him based off of that. Everyone has a right to whatever. So I feel like when people get mad when they're like, so and so didn't speak on this, bruv, like it's not really your business. Like why are you attacking them? Especially when the person starts trending for that and people are attacking them. I feel like that's not fair. It's important to make sure that your opinion is not trampled on. At the very least, you have the right to an opinion. No one is saying that your opinion will be right, but you have a right to it. Like you have to have that. Like honestly speaking, I don't see how someone can get mad that the guy was quiet. It's one thing if he had come online and he was like, no, this movement is trash, right? Because now you're attacking it. But if someone is quiet, we don't know whether or not he supports it. So it's benefit of the doubt. It's just to say, look, we don't know. Maybe he's dealing with it in a different way. Some people take to social media. Some people take to the ground. Some people are just quiet. They're just like, and they watch, and there's nothing wrong with that either. And of course, he has to accept that some people get in their feelings when you're quiet. So either way, I think it's just about, just let people be. I don't think it's something that people get mad on social media. Like it's emotional, guys.
That's everything, hey? But for me, it's kind of scary because it's so undemocratic, especially from people who seem to be championing democracy. It seems so undemocratic that someone's silence on a stance is equated to a position, or if you're not with us, or at least if you do not speak up, you're the enemy, it seems so undemocratic for me, at least. I guess maybe it's not that deep because it's social media, but it does seem a bit startling to me.
Yeah. I actually trust people less who only speak about something when it's trending. You know, I would prefer, like, there's some people who are constantly talking about like social injustice all the time. There doesn't have to be an issue or something that has just happened. So even like brands, I know like during the Black Lives Matter thing, and certain brands only started saying, oh, we're so diverse, and you know, the Blackout Tuesday and all of that, they were only doing it because of what was going on and all the unrest in the States and worldwide. But like, I'm not gonna believe you, because it's like, really, you're just doing it because you know you're gonna be in hot water. So I actually prefer people who are just themselves. They're like, I'm not gonna show up just because I'll start trending if I show up, or because if I don't show up, I'll start trending for the wrong reasons. I actually prefer people who are just
Don't show
themselves
up, I'm
all
gonna
the
catch
time.
heat.
Yeah, like just be yourself all the time. So if he was silent, he was silent. It's just one of those things. I don't think, how did people even notice? I mean, wow. Like,
The detectives on Twitter,
No,
people go
no,
through your
it's been
timeline.
a thing for a while though. It's been a thing for a while where people have said, Winky D is pro, and I love Winky D as well. I don't, I'm a big fan of him. But people have said he's pro, uh, pro. What can I say? He's, I don't want to say MDC, but he's a good guy versus Jah Prayzah, who is with the bad guys, and good guys in this context would mean MDC or anyone against ZANU, and bad guys is ZANU PF. So that's why people like looked for him so specifically, because they're like, we need you to lend your voice to this because we think you're these guys, or at least that's how I saw
oh,
it.
okay. Okay, I get what you're saying.
But it
Yeah.
shows like what Shami was saying, like, oh, what I think both of you are alluding to is that, you know, it's undemocratic. They don't understand what liberty is, because liberty is a person's choice to make a decision whether or not it makes you happy. You know, it's not something that will
Mm,
hurt you. Like, his silence didn't really affect anything. I didn't even notice that he didn't say anything about the Zimbabwean Lives Matter movement. And I also
yeah.
think we don't give people enough time to articulate their thoughts. Like, you know, some things are complex and you need time to really think about it. So some people are not politically motivated in that way for them to say something about it. Them throwing out a hashtag for me is just, you know, just trying to be part of the moment. If you know, if you have nothing
It's
really, if you
performative.
it's performative, yeah. If you can't add to the conversation, then sometimes it's just to keep quiet. Like, you just see what's going on and then you form your thoughts or whatever. And I'm pretty sure he probably got a position if he thought about it much later on. But then it doesn't really, you know, it might not be the moment or something that he's not willing to share or talk about. I think we should respect that in a sense. Because if you want a democratic society, that's what it entails. People are going to do things that you're not going to be a fan of, and you just have to, you know, live with it. And in this case, it didn't hurt anybody. Like,
Yeah.
I know the movement was noble. I get that, but he's making a personal choice. We can't expect, since he has a platform, for us to put expectations on him simply because he signed up for a Twitter account. That's not in the terms of service of Twitter. That if you're famous, you must be an advocate, and he might not be
Yeah.
that guy. He might not
It
be
kind
that
of
guy
is
who's
now.
no, but I think that's unfair though, because you can't expect someone with a blue check mark to be, you know, a champion. There are people who are famous
Mm,
on Twitter who do that. Other people are just on Twitter for different reasons. Most blue check marks are just lurkers. You know, they know what they say will cause a storm, so they just sit there and scroll through their timeline. Some people, some like famous people, don't even care about Twitter. It's just there just to, you know, mark the register that I'm on the most
Yeah.
popular platform, but they don't really care about it. uh, Again, if this was a case of that, you know, someone in his private circle, there was a conversation that he had where he was for against the matter that came out, okay, fair enough. And if he backed it up or said no, okay, that's a different issue. But him being quiet on a social platform in public, nah, nah, I don't think people are being
Not a
fair.
big
But
deal.
it's not a big deal. But then again, some of his fans do have, like what Shami was saying, they do have the right not to vote for him. Like, if they feel that type of way about it, cool, don't vote for him. It's
Yeah.
your choice at the end of the day, you know. Don't make a big deal
Yeah,
about
I definitely understand that as well. Like if someone says for me to support this guy, I want him to speak on social movement. Fair enough. I do understand that as well. But yeah, I guess we're all on the same page. That was what was on my mind.
So that's what had you feeling tired the whole day, weighing the balance of whether or not it's ethical or not to vote for Jah Prayzah.
I was worried for the guy.
You'll be alright. You'll be alright. So, I think we always start out deep since Ed did that thing last week. Started off on a very deep note. I hope the next person can lighten the mood, hopefully, but I doubt it. You know who it is, Shami. What's on your mind?
Oh, is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
Okay. I hope I'm gonna lighten the mood. Okay, so I actually have two things on my mind, but I'll just pick one because
No,
this
just
one
go
is
both. Do both.
really, should I? No, well, the other one I actually got from you, so I may not even bring it up.
Okay. Okay. We'll
Yeah,
talk about it later then.
exactly. Okay, so what I'm going to ask Jay, and this is actually me just being curious about you guys, to be honest.
Oh God.
Looks or
Oh wow.
personality?
Can I have my cake and eat it too? That's the
Thank you.
question.
Thank you, man.
That's the question I have.
I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it.
Oh, did you not catch it?
Yeah, I didn't.
I said, what would you rather, looks or personality?
I mean that gram, bro. That gram needs some reasonable content.
Before you guys go on, I want you to know, I want it to be made known that this question literally translates to shallow or deep.
No, that's unfair.
Nope, this is deep. This is all the way deep. Shami, thank you for making this situation deeper than last week. I'll try and go first again because
Who's going first?
Ed sacrificed himself.
why not? I'll be the sacrificial lamb. I mean, okay. So I think it's best described with a sort of like a story for me. Story being that there are certain type of people that I don't know. Rufaro said sedentary, which I might botch, but yeah, whatever, YOLO. So there's some people like me that are like that. Well, that used to be like me that are like that way. You'll find someone interesting on social in a place where looks are not involved. So I don't know if anyone still remembers Mixit or something, but Mixit used to have this feature where there was like random chat. So in random chat, it was the place, man. Like it was, oh man. So in this random chat, it was literally what it says, random chat. You get into a chat room with a bunch of random people and then you just start talking. Back in the day, I used to love hip hop very much. So I kind of also used to rap. So I had my bars. I would jump in there, chuck my bars. And if someone got those bars, for me, that was a win on a personality level. I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna do whatever I can to get your Mixit ID, and then we go kick it in the DMs. So so that was how it was, because Mixit didn't, like, if you were in those random chats, there were no pics unless if someone sent their pic in there, but you couldn't just open someone's ID and be like, oh, okay, looks 10 out of 10, DM. There wasn't that. It was purely, do you vibe with this person and you're gonna engage. But looks are also equally important. So it's a tough one. I mean, you can't, for me, it's very difficult to enjoy either exclusively. Like, but if I had to choose, like if you were to put like a cannon on my head, if you were to get that German tank, put a cannon on my head and be like, pick one. Because of my sedentary nature, I wouldn't mind sacrificing looks and go for someone with a fantastic personality. I think I'll go there.
Hey, the way you drag that out, bro.
It needs background.
Dragging out.
It's not easy.
Ooh, that's a difficult question because it's difficult. But when I was listening to Ed and I said and thought about it, I was like, I think the way I'm wired, which kind of goes away from me from time to time, and I have to remind myself of who I am sometimes, is that I have to like the person you are. Like if I vibe with you as the person you are, then it's for me it's easier from there. Um, and you can get the looks you want from the person you want, and sometimes, and it's not even about having the fantastic personalities. Do we kind of balance? Do we offset each other? Can we tolerate each other's nonsense? Then if it's like that, then I'm really good with it. You know, um, I don't want to. There's an old saying that I will refrain from saying. Um, okay, I have to say it now. No, I won't say it. So yeah, it's for me. It's more important if you are, if I like the person that you are. Um, for me, that nothing else matters after that. It's just you want the person. So it's it's just easier for me, I think, because you can get the looks and then get the personality. You're like, hey, no, 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 God, no. Or you can get a combination of both if you're lucky. I mean, there are people who are like, okay, you get a combination of both, and bless them. And then if you get your soulmate on top of that, hey, you really won the lottery. That's my 2 cents on
You guys
This is the
are so
moment I've been
cute.
waiting
You
for.
guys are so cute with
it.
your mature positions and all that.
Bring the misogyny. Bring the misogyny,
Ah
Varela. Wait,
man, for me, nah man, I'm not gonna go extreme.
go future.
I tend to lean towards looks, maybe not a lot more than personality, but then the important caveat is the relationship serious or casual? If it's casual, then 110% looks. If it's serious, maybe 60% looks, 40% personality. But then again, I chalk that up to being a young guy who is not looking for marriage or anything like extremely serious. But I think looks are extremely important. Extremely important. Maybe not like at most I would say 50-50. I wouldn't say it depends, man. But yeah, you'd have you'd have a hard time convincing
Yes,
you'd
yes,
have a seriously
yes.
hard time convincing me to discredit looks entirely. That's my position on this.
Mm.
I don't know,
I'll just
Shami.
flip.
What's your position? I wanna, and I know this didn't mean I rank very. I rank on the shallow side, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the shallow
No,
is okay.
you know what? People should actually want as much as they can get. I think it's okay to get. I think shame. Like with guys, it's
Ah,
difficult because you guys are always like you kind of want to come across a certain way as well because you don't want to like hurt feelings because women are not afraid to hurt feelings like genuinely speaking but guys are kind of like
Thank you, Shami. Thank you. You are the
no
first woman
it's
to
true.
admit that.
I've
Woo!
noticed that if a woman goes on social media and she's like if he doesn't have money if he doesn't like they get support, right? Like, hey,
yeah.
go high value or whatever. If a guy comes on and he's like, hey, I don't mess with ugly girls, bro. Bruh.
No, no, but then this guy did that. What did he say? Future. He said something on his Twitter. He was like, he said something about ugly girls, and he got smoked for it, like you say. But I think it's also fair for at least you know what you're getting.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I think it's okay to like I think everything is about the way you say it. Like if like you don't have to use the word ugly, right? But you can just be
Exactly.
like, hey, I have a type and just keep it there. Like you don't
Hey,
have to talk about anything else. But
but
if you're
Shami,
looking for good looking with personality,
but
then
Shami,
why not?
but
Again,
but Shami,
you're entitled to what you like, bro. Like
true. But
me,
Shami
there
saying
shouldn't be.
I've got a type kind of implies. So it might just be better to be blunt and be like, Anna, you ain't it.
I wouldn't be blunt. I wouldn't be
Nah,
blunt.
yeah.
I
I
wouldn't
don't
be
No.
believe that,
blunt.
but I would not be blunt. I can't believe that.
I wouldn't be blunt because you know why? Let me explain why. Because like like people, a person doesn't recover from you telling them they're a 2 out of 10.
Word, true. No,
Like,
but like
and there's no reason why anyone should do that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
I guess
even if they
it's
do look
personality
like a
type.
2 in your eyes, it's like,
Eesh.
why bring that to the table?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I
But
get what you mean.
It's
I
just one of those things that like crushes someone in the long term, and it's genuinely like a beyond being blunt, it's like a mean spirited thing. It's like you don't have to do that. Like
true, true. On the psychological point of view, yeah, getting that from someone would suck. Maybe it's just personality type, but I just
yeah.
prefer someone to be blunt. Tell me what it is, so we don't both waste our time. And
So you would want someone to tell you you're a 2,
yes, please tell them at all.
rather than them saying we're
What?
not a good fit. You'd
Yeah,
rather just tell you, Valentine, I don't roll with 2s, instead of just saying, Valentine, we're not a good fit.
no, but if you say I don't roll with 2s, guy, that implies I'm a 2, so I'm good. I'm like, I know, I get it. Leagues are different.
I
I know,
if
man.
anyone is
No,
hearing or
no.
if anyone is listening to this and they're crushing on me,
Valentine, no,
do not
no.
tell me I'm a
But the
2.
thing is, girls
Do
do
not tell me
that though.
Yeah,
Like
women
girls
do
can
like
do that though.
because
yeah.
you guys
Yeah,
are
but
black men.
that's not a good
But then
feeling.
but
It's
then
not,
also for
no.
guys is like, well, we are generally 2s, so it's not. We're
But
generally not doing great on the look side.
but
That's not
not
our fault.
not all 2s were created equal. So yeah, there are some high
No,
end
but
2s
but
and
what I
some.
do mean is in the context of a guy, right?
uh,
Being told you're ugly is not the worst thing you can hear. Like, we're generally not
True.
great. We're not known for our looks.
I
Yeah, like I think that's not a woman's like priority decision factor when it comes to uh,
Yeah.
choosing a guy. So to us,
Mm.
it's cool, but like I guess something that was prominent in high school. Well, at least during my time, I don't know if that cuts across boards, but there was this thing of hey, mdara mune sugar, do you got swag? And yeah, being told you ain't got swag that was a tough one. That was yeah, you would feel that.
Back in the
Because
day. Yeah.
swag
like,
was the currency.
it was the currency, man. Like you'd be zero, you'd be like completely broke, no looks. But if you found something that gave you that swag, yeah, you were
Right.
good. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. All this has shown me is that you guys have pressure. Like you have way more pressure. I can
Oh
guarantee if I
yeah,
told
oh
you
yeah.
girls, they would be going off. Like, yeah, this is what I want. And you guys, you're like tiptoeing. It's like that thing on Twitter with the shoes. I'm pretty sure I only saw this because of Fari. I'm certain with the shoes where at first it was the
Shoes.
girls who were like, oh, we can't recreate this with a Zim dude because they're broke or whatever. And then when a guy did
Ah.
it, yeah, and he was like, oh, we can't recreate this look with a Zim chick because all they have is black pumps. Do you remember?
Woo!
Oh,
Hey, shit.
I saw that as
Whoa!
well.
And he
Wow.
was like,
I
but
think
you
it's
started. You started. So when you do it, it's okay. And then when we do it. So yeah, no, like be comfortable. If you want looks and personality, you must get your looks and your personality. We don't settle here. That's not how it goes.
But isn't it like a game of
yeah, fine.
probability now? Like you
Yeah,
find
you find what best works for you, I think.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's a game of odds if you think about it. Because I'm not generalizing, but I'm saying
Yeah.
to find both of what you're looking for, like the ideals. Everybody's got an ideal person they have in their head.
Mm.
To find that is excruciatingly difficult. And at some point, you just have to settle. Like, yeah, this is what I got. So, might as well. You will never admit it to your partner that I just you are a late round draft pick, but you've come through. So I'm a roll with it.
I
They'll
guys
never.
know there I can't relate. You can't just say I'll settle. How?
Like time flies. You might not have found what you're looking for, and you have what you have. Man, but both ways, it goes both ways. Because like I think women tend, if you don't get it, you just settle.
Or
You
you might
tend to
not
just
even have the capacity to get what you're looking for. Like if you're a guy and
Mm.
and you're not bagged up, it's gonna be
Yeah,
hard to strike high on the look. It's gonna be
especially in
extremely hard
Harare.
to strike high
Harare
on
is a
the look.
jungle. Harare is a jungle. You have
Yeah,
to have.
it's made worse in Zim where people are generally not backed up. But
Yeah.
at that point, I think that's where self-awareness comes in. You have to understand it's Aramba and just give them a 10, nema 9, nema 8. Then you start
But
playing
I'm
in the
not
league.
five.
I think that's where self-awareness comes in. Hey, do you are young. Because sometimes those are just the cards that are there, and you can't be angry about that. You can't be angry about why can't I reach the 10? It's like, yeah, a lot of people can't, but you just make do with what's there. So in terms of settling, I think there is some sort of settling, and also there's a lot more that goes into a person beyond just looks, personality. There's career. There's so many things that go into it at the end of the day. But yeah, I do think there's room to settle, but I also do think it's so dynamic and fluid. If I found a 10 who's willing to like who's 4 years older than me and willing to take care of me, I might take that, guys. I might take that.
An honest admission.
Yes. So many honest people in here. I like
Wow.
it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was eye opening. That was eye opening.
That was hard.
All right, so I'm gonna
Who's
sacrifice
next?
myself.
Is it Ed or
I'm sacri-
Valentine?
I'm sacrificing myself. Going third near the end, and it kind of goes along the same lines of what Shami was talking about because the dating scene in Harare is insane. Like, whew, like that I'm a what? You get boxed out of so
Well, what
many.
did they do to you now?
I was like, okay, so go with this. So I'll start from this story. Well, not a story, but it's an experience. I was on Tinder for a bit, right? So
That's
so
the place, man. I was there for a bit as well, but you can go on.
my 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 experience was weird because I treated it like a normal chat, like a WhatsApp or a text or something, right? When Tinder, in fact, is speed dating. You have to impress the person. They unmatch or you
Could I
unmatch.
ask you a question? Why did you approach it like WhatsApp?
Because I didn't
That's
know any
interesting.
better. Okay, I didn't know any better. I just downloaded it and tried it. that was my mistake.
Yeah.
So you get in there, and you're like, okay,
and
you
you're
you
busy being a gentleman.
it was not the place. I should have read the book of Future. I should have gone to Future's timeline and read through it. Like, okay, this is the mindset I need to have before I go into Tinder. And I was just like, I'm being a nice guy and all this kind of stuff. And you see people just stop texting me. Like, so when I don't know which video I came across on, was it Twitter or something? And someone was just showing an example of a pickup line they use on Tinder. I'm like, okay, so I was doing it all wrong. But then I was too late for me to go backwards and dabble with the platform. But then on the other side, general people like going out there and finessing yourself or trying to finesse people face to face. Again, in Harare, the games, the rules of the game, I have no idea of, to be personally honest. You if you've got money, which I don't, it's difficult to approach someone and be like, okay, you know what, let's ride. And it's the generality of dudes. It's like the expectations of what I've been saying before. They are so high. So you get there, you're like, I only got this, and you're trying your luck, and you see you're not going anywhere, and it's consistent. Like to get a shot, guy, you have to have. I'm gonna say this once. I'm only gonna say this once. You have to have Farai level charisma.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a lie, man.
Put
You know
on
what
the
the problem with this
spot.
is if my crush is listening to this guy, she's gonna think I'm some kind of crazy dude who belongs to the streets, for lack of a better term. I
Is
do
it a
not
lie?
belong to the streets, guys. That's my.
Mm,
Oh,
Farah
I don't
belongs to
belong
the
to the
street.
streets.
Check out his IG.
okay.
Farah's
I
IG
just seem
is
like a person who belongs to the streets.
nah. Check out Fari's IG. Like you can just tell that no, there's a lot of planning that went into this. It
No,
might be
but
sick.
I actually ended up removing comments because of you see what you think is what made me like remove comments and turn off comments on my IG because people would be commenting crazy. But those are not my girls like that, man. Like it's not even like
Mm,
that. Just
okay.
jokes.
Ah,
Kungotandara.
all right. Well, lie to us. Lie to us. Am I correct to say
But
that me and Farah?
go on with
Am
your
I correct
story.
to
It's
say that?
fascinating.
Am I correct to say that only me and Farah are the only two single ones here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So
Both of
we'll
you
let.
to say I'm single.
Hey,
Very
listen, it's an
bold of you.
assumption. It's an assumption. I'm just making the assumption that you're single. Because if you're in a relationship, you're bad at acting that you're in a relationship. Because you it's like, yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I really am not. It's a good assumption.
So my radar is in the right direction. So I'm just gonna finish up by saying, I would like all your opinion of okay, probably when you were dating, what was the challenges? What was it like? Because for us, we're struggling out here in the bush. Yay! You need to be strong.
Bro, I've been out the game, so I don't even know like the struggle. Like, yeah, no, because I've been with my husband for going on 10 years, so I don't know what people have been going through. Yeah,
Hey,
that
that's a
was,
long time.
Wow.
yeah.
Phew.
I don't know.
But
I
like,
know it's
yo,
hectic,
man, like
but I
10
don't
years
know
ago,
how.
10 years ago, I wasn't even a teenager, man. That's crazy.
Are you for real?
Yeah,
Guys,
I
I feel
was
so
12.
old.
12.
I feel so old, bro. Yeah, that's how long it's been.
Okay, so
I
like
mean,
when you were
I envy
dating,
you. That sounds like a peaceful life, though. Away from the noise, from the street, from the
uh,
Ah,
struggle.
it's been nice. Woo,
look
it's
who's
been nice.
talking.
So what was your question again? Maybe I can try to answer it. What was
I was like,
your question or your thought?
my thought was like, what are the challenges that you've been facing, or is the struggle universal, or did you probably live in what I'm just down there, trying to hit above my weight class?
Okay. I hear you. so so initially when you were speaking and you're saying everything is about money, I agree, and to an extent I disagree in that I think the money talk is like extremely loud on social media, but in real life people do have expectations that are a bit more realistic. But I do agree in that getting money is generally hard in Zim. So, like getting money and then getting enough of it to spare to then like go on dates and be going out and meeting people. Sometimes that's a hard thing to achieve, or at least to try balance out. In that regard, I do agree. And then in regards to like the challenges of dating, I don't know. For me, I think the biggest deterrent is time, because like I said, what did I say? I said I'm 22. That means most people in my age range are in uni. And the thing with uni people is they kind of have like a lot of free time, and I don't happen to have a lot of free time. So they have a lot of free time, but they also have like some girls and curfews. Mdara. Hey,
Yeah, I'm one.
some girls
Uh,
have like crazy restrictive curfews. Like some funny stuff like 6 p.m. but then or something like that. And if I'm going to spend time with someone, it's probably like after work or during the weekends. But mostly after work is when I would be comfortable, which is when you're supposed to be locked inside your home, safe away from the big bad wolves. So that's the biggest challenge in terms of scheduling and time. That's for me. That's what I think is the biggest challenge with dating.
Hmm. I'm curious that, well, I'm curious to the omissions you made of what is life really like on these streets.
What omissions do I make?
What is life really like on
I
these
think
streets?
I think I think I think that's relative to each person.
How so?
I think I would say the streets are okay. That's what I would say. I think the
Ah,
streets are fine.
okay.
I- like
Yeah.
the way I look at it, be prepared to be prepared to dribble and be prepared to get dribbled. Like just I think the person the person with options is always the safest person. Is that fair to say?
No, no, that is absolutely true. If you've got, well, there's this meme I saw yesterday when I was on Reddit, and the guy was like asked, "Am I the only guy you talk to?" And the girl was like, "Of course you're not." And with girls, it seems like, oh, this is just generalization. I don't want you guys to go, all the women out there to come and storm
Yeah.
the house, but it seems like the generalization. You've got a number of options. You've got, plan A, plan B, plan C, then the food guy. So for niggas, it's a little bit different. You've got hustle 1 to hustle 99, and then number 100 is, so out of your league that you throw a shot there once in a while, just to see if just to test the waters, and
Yeah.
get a blue tick or you get a lull and then nothing else for like 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
I think for guys, I'm sure guys, again, this correlates with how much money you have, because I don't want to depict women as being materialistic, because men are too. Everybody likes
Yeah.
things. Okay, that's fair to say. But if you've got money, right, you've got that power. You've got, people unintentionally gravitate towards you. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. So for if you're a dude who's papered up, I think you have more options. But as a girl, I think, hey, I'm not going to put ratings there because that's a touchy subject. But I'm sure
But
there are
I
a
do
number of.
think that the most important thing I left out is just focus on the grind. Focus on taking care of your family before she must treat it. I think it's way
Look,
more
this
important.
joking.
Like personally.
Oh,
No, for
life
real, for
lessons.
real. I live by this. Like it's more important because at the end of the day, it's just an endless game, isn't it? Like I would rather just focus on things I can control than things I can't control. And sometimes it quickly devolves into those are things you really can't control.
So one man
Yeah.
who's been suspiciously silent, who's just spoken up, is Ed.
Well, okay. Well, I'm not suspicious and I'm enjoying the conversation. So
Mm,
I would go with Shami mentioned this earlier. Like she was like, man, you guys are under so much pressure. And I'll tell a story because that's the best way I can say stuff. So so I saw the pressure.
We need
I
it.
saw the pressure as a third party. Um, back then when I was still like in Form 1, Form 2, because I was at boarding school like Form 1 to 4. And things are interesting at boarding school. But anyway, the most interesting bit was always like, Valentine's. There was this pressure on guys to impress. And I knew half of the
Yeah.
story, right? But then because I have a number of female friends, I would then get the other side of the story. And that to me was just mind blowing because I didn't know that on these Valentine's days, the guys would just be like, hey, man, I'm just going to get a fancy gift for my girl. But when the gift arrived at the girls' hostel, there were contests, like gift contests. Gifts would be laid out and
Yeah.
ranked. I didn't know about that. And that freaked me out because I was like, okay, this is definitely a money game. If you can't afford it, don't try it. And that sort of like explained why, why the fellas would be tough to get towards that time. Like yeah, the situations would arise
You
where
temporarily break up with someone.
yeah, there were excuses. There were excuses. So I loved that I was a third party in all this back then because yeah, I started dating when I was like 18. Like back then I was like, nah, uh, I'm not there yet. And it was fun seeing this. There's actually a close buddy of mine who was my homeboy. He ended up getting his bae a complete like suitcase full of gifts, which really caused so much chaos in the girls' hostel that yeah, they both were put on punishment for that. but but like the pressure that would create on guys was intense. You know, everyone like guys would keep tabs on each other on who had a girl and who didn't, just so that when the time came, they had a bank where they would grab a loan, a small loan, just for that day, which was insane. When I did then venture into the game, ah, I was now so like a little bit of background. My high school was in a mission school. So if you understand the mission school, you understand that it's yeah, it's not uptown. So when I then moved from a mission school to like what some would say a group A school, I then went to like a group A school in town.
Mm.
Oh man, everything was so different. And if I thought like my high school back then was chaos in terms of the pressure, that was a whole different level. Because now back there you would set your own standards. Now you are being told the standards which you were supposed to uphold if you were a student at that school. So that just made it a lot more chaotic as a guy. I don't know how I navigated that, but yeah, I made it. I made it without too much chaos. It was a wild ride. I mean, it was a genuine wild ride, and you'll get to a point where you're talking to someone, you're vibing, trying to maintain that standard. Then you figure out that, oh man, this chick is like the Kwekwe mayor's daughter, man. I can't stack up to that. I mean, she just got
Like,
a
I cannot
beamer.
afford this.
She got a beamer for like passing Form 4, bruv. I don't even have a bicycle. How am I gonna? There's so much pressure. Like the standards
The
you had
land is too
to you had
expensive,
to
man.
attain. Ah, that was too expensive. Like I literally ate all the humble pie and pulled out. Like I was like, yeah, bye. So it's tricky. It's hectic. The streets are not for the faint-hearted. I've seen men fall. I've seen someone chow $700 of school fees for the streets. Like that's how tight these streets are. But
Yes, that's the dedication to the game that we need.
oh man, that was complete dedication, man. But yeah, like I would say hats off, like pour some for all the guys that made it out in one piece, because yo, we have it hard. We have it hard. Like I personally, I thought I was king of the game, but yeah, I've only been in a 6-year relationship that I'm still in right now, and it started off in college, so it's kind of I'm kind of like blessed that it wasn't too chaotic. Like I didn't flex as much because I didn't have stuff to flex with. So you kind of have that consolation of I guess probably the person I'm with likes me for who I am, which I appreciate. So yeah, more life.
Lucky one.
But yeah, I would safely say I'm one of the lucky ones in that regard. Uh, Otherwise, the streets, whew, any guy will tell you. Like if they decide to put their ego on the table for like 5 minutes, yeah, they'll tell you that life ain't easy. It's yeah, these streets. I don't know, Shami, did you know that guys go through such stuff? Like, I'm curious.
Well, yeah, because I only have brothers, so
Ah,
yeah. So I never, yeah, yeah. So for me, like I saw this firsthand all the time, but then like they never really struggled neither. I don't know if that makes sense, because like they had their stuff in check, but like in general, I did see like with the guys around me as well that yeah, the game is tough. I've seen things happen. I have seen things. Yeah,
Sounds
it's
like a
tough.
roller coaster.
But you know what? I had a teacher in high school. He said, like, no, he actually said, he was like, the mistake that a lot of people make when they're dating is, or when they're in high school as well, like when they're young, they'll be like, I want to focus on school right now, 100%, as in nothing else, right? Like a lot of people do that, and my career and whatever. And then when I leave high school, maybe when I'm 21, that's when I'm going to start like dating around and whatever. And he was like, those people usually you'll find that it doesn't always end great for them because they've started too late. So he was like, mess around with these boys here in high school now, do it now, and learn what it feels like to be cheated on now. So that by
get
the
that
time you're
experience.
21, you are so smart,
Yeah, yeah,
you are
that's very
so
true.
clever, you're so slick, you know what you want. He was like, don't play now when you've left high school with these men who like, and he was telling, and you know what's so crazy? I saw this with some of the girls that I went to school with, where, because for me, I was like, from high school, I was just like, granted, I had inside information, right? Having brothers, I already knew what the game was. Like the game never had me. That's the honest truth. Like, I was like, hey, I knew, but like still, I was like, no,
No
high
one
school.
could
I
fool
saw
you.
how
You
people.
had the rule book.
Yeah, that's the thing. I saw how people moved in high school, and I was like, hey, if you're like this now, what's gonna happen? Because there's always the assumption that no, you grow up and you become better. I think we know that that's not necessarily true. So like, I was already like, no. But
Yeah.
some of the girls were like, no, I'm gonna get my 15 points or whatever it is. Then I'm gonna go university. Then like second year, third year, I'm gonna start. And the way dudes will dance around you circles, my friend. So like I think dating just starts as it's important to like know what you are looking for early. Like this thing of saying
Learn the
no,
game exactly.
Mm.
I don't think people should do that anymore. Like, no, I'll get to it when I'm the age for it. Like by the time you are the age for it, the other people who are the age for it will know what's happening. Like they'll know how to maneuver and
And
operate
also,
and you
Shami,
mm,
I think the thing with age is I don't think you can wait because like let's say someone says I'll wait to start dating at like 28 or 26, right?
mm.
And then you get someone who dribbles you for like 2 years straight. Now you've lost 2 years and you're 28.
Yeah, and you have seen it
And
yet
time is like
again.
is genuinely against your side. And then you
You
meet another
can't.
person, they dribble you for 1 year because now
Mm,
you're a bit more wise and you can see it earlier. Now you're
exactly.
29 and like it's
Yeah,
rather just learn those lessons as early as you can and maybe as responsibly as you can.
exactly. As
And
safely as you can. That's the best thing you can do. Now when you're operating in the streets, no. Ha, ha, no.
But I like the point you made. Like, you have to get your first heartbreak early on. 15, 16,
Mm,
17, get it out the way. Because if you get it in your mid
yeah,
20s,
yeah.
it's going to ruin you. It will ruin you.
Yeah,
uh,
it's a big
Yeah,
one.
man.
never do.
Yeah.
It's a
Like,
big.
we're not trying to pressure people to start. I mean, do it when you're ready. But like, if you don't want to date, at least
No,
see the people
no, do
around
it
you.
tomorrow.
To do it tomorrow. No, but I'm saying like, if you're not going to do it, at least study the people around you, like what Shami is doing. Look around and see
Yeah.
what's going on. If you've got friends, they've got boyfriends, just be there listening here and take notes, because these like studying for life is as important as
But
studying
I
for
feel like
school.
you don't learn those lessons that way.
Now you don't experience is the best teacher, fair enough. But I'm saying like if you don't feel you're ready, at least
mm.
the least you can do is at least
You
lay
can
some sort of
see it.
foundation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I hear you.
So who's left? I think it's Ed. Oh, is it Ed?
Yep.
Yeah,
Number two.
yeah.
Yeah, it did.
I'm the last one. See, I've been trying not to go philosophical, but I don't even know how that's gonna go. So yeah, or whatever. But like for me, it's what's been on my mind is probably expectations, eh? Because growing up, you have expectations. You're like, you know what? I think when I get to this stage in life, I'll have this or I'll have accomplished that, and then I move on to the next. I move on to the next, and well, speaking from my own experience, it's kind of a point where you start off with a plan falls apart, and then you start creating a plan as you go. I don't know if everyone else kind of has gone through something similar. I don't know. I'm just curious. Are things going
Yeah.
according to plan?
No, no, they're not. No.
That was Frank. We need more.
We need more.
Well, well, okay. All right. So you all want me to be honest. So I think today I've been too honest.
If it's not
I think
like
we'll have
crazy personal or going to crush us.
it's not crazy personal. It's just one of those things.
Okay.
I think we might have to redact this episode because I was too honest this episode. All right. So the last thing, uh, nothing ever goes to plan because the whole expectation was, well, early on in my teens it was, finish high school, um finish college, look for for someone to settle down with, have little regrets, and then drift off into the sunset. And that was the naive view that I had when I was a kid, because I was like, that's how life progresses, because that's how we were taught that life progressed. But then when you get to that age in your 18, 19s, there's a turn. You then, well, that's when I became aware of the world I was living in, and things weren't like that. There is no, you can do the academic career stuff, fair enough, you can do all of that, but the personal stuff is a lot more difficult. Yeah, it's you can't plan that, this whole get married by 24. I remember my dad telling me, he's like, Vana, when I was your age I had 4 kids, and I'm like, my guy, I'm not trying to be like that. No, thank you. Especially for me,
We're
like,
not trying to kill. We're not trying to starve children.
nah, I'm not about to have, a rugrat look at me and then be like, yo, bro, where the food at? I'm not ready for that yet. So it's like the expectations that you get from home are like, you must be have moved on in your life. And I think it's more stressful when it's people who are looking from the outside in, who don't have like any sort of idea of who you are as a person, or any idea of what you've gone through. And then they begin to put these expectations like, we need you to be this and be that. I'm like, I'm only me. I can only be me for myself. I can't then, fit around and be everything that, everybody else needs to be. Um, that's on life. Career wise, I think that's where I can say everything is sort of going to plan, kind of, sort of, maybe. It's 50-50 there, but I think we're getting to the point where um, it's going to plan. It's like that's the one thing I always try to. And I'm not even that old. Like, I'm only 28, and you then try to tell quote unquote young people, but you're kind of in the same generation. So like, the one thing that I was told at the very least was that you will have one career in your life, which is a lie. That is the
Yeah.
first lie they told all kids. One career is never going to satisfy you. You are a never adapting thing. You're going to want a new challenge. You're going to want something else. You're going to need, you know, a refresher. You're going to need you're going to get to a point where the passion you've been suppressing is going to override everything that you want to do, and then you just let go of whatever you're doing, no matter how lucrative it was, however lucrative it was, to go and search for the thing that you think will fulfill you. So that whole you've got one career in your life, pick your career carefully. That career guidance nonsense we're taught in high school, nonsense, absolute nonsense. Pick a degree, do it. It's not your final degree. You might get another qualification or a certificate, or by progressing that, you might do this. And again, pick what you want to do or what you think you want to do at the time. Because 99% of the time, and speaking for Zimbabweans in general, we get pigeonholed into what we're expected to do. So you get told, we want you to be this.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you realize you are not that. You can do it, fair enough, but you are not designed to be that. You're not wired that way, even though you can do
Yeah.
it. And you enter this. I don't want to ruin anyone's day. You get into this rut where it's just mechanical. You don't enjoy what you're doing. It's not challenging. You're just in that gray area. You're lukewarm. You ever had like a cup of lukewarm tea? Like you've forgotten a cup of tea on the table, and you realize like, yeah, life should not be that way. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think I largely agree with what Valentine said. So for me, things not going according to plan because, well, there wasn't really much of a plan to begin with. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
maybe more importantly though, one thing I am like super appreciative in my case at least is um my parents have, for better and for worse, I think they've allowed me to like fail and succeed on my own terms. And so
Mm.
far, I think it's going well. So far, it's going well. But so far, it's going well. So I'm super appreciative of that in terms of um, I've been able to choose the path that I am on without like um, anything being dictated to me that you have to do A, B, or C. So super grateful for that. For now, it's working. We'll see. We'll see down the line. Man. You never know. It might turn out, man, this guy actually need that. Yeah, but I think I'm at peace because it's at the end of the day, it's on me. The things, at least if I fail or succeed, it's on me. I don't have to point to anyone else to say, but no, you guys made me dedicate 3 years of my life to this. I didn't want to do that. It's not anything like that. Everything is on my shoulders. So I'm fine with that. I don't know if that's an adequate answer.
I think it's an adequate answer, but does that not help your confidence that if you're given that responsibility to chart your own course, you feel like, you know what, let's do this, as opposed to,
Yeah. So it certainly does give confidence, but it's also like super scary. It's also super scary in that you're not doing what everyone else is doing. So that's very unsettling because it's like, where's the safety net? So that's the unsettling part. So it's pros and cons to both because uh, by doing something different and actually having relative success in that, you figure out, so maybe I am actually like capable, and like you said, it supercharges your confidence, and it allows you to do other things. So I think like anything else, there's pros and cons. There's the confidence side, and then there's also just the anxiety where you're like, where do I land if this doesn't work? So, but yeah, I mean, I think everyone has that, regardless of what path you take. There's gonna be the chance of failure or success. I don't think there's a safe path per se.
Mm.
well, can I just one more question? And I'm sorry to turn this into a therapy session, but like,
Yeah.
isn't living life by your own terms that early? Doesn't it, like, when you can stare that in the face with the fear of that, if this is bust, there's nothing else for me. Does the fear become easier after you've had to stare that in the face very early on?
So it's hard to answer that because it genuinely feels like I am in the midst of staring it in the face. So maybe I'll have an answer in a few months. I'll be like, yeah, dude, I stared it down and it worked out. Or I'll be like, dude, it totally crushed me. Do not go down that path. It's a work in progress.
Shami.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
pretty
don't
interesting.
live in
Shami,
a
what do you
country
think?
for planning. Well, I mean, we don't live in a country for planning. You know what I mean? Like in general life, I mean, wherever you are, but like
Ouch.
here, you
That
Tenfold.
was so savage. I like it.
Wow.
it's true. Though, like I hate like planning. Like I mean, you can plan, but you like don't expect it to pan
I
out.
do
Like
agree with Shami though.
yeah, it's tough. So even when you plan, it can like anything can happen, and it's just literally anything. Like so I'll tell you guys a funny story. When we brought in, I don't know what was 2018, right? Yes, I'm pretty sure it was 2018 when we had brought in a car, and on the, I kid you guys not, on the on the day when our car arrived at the border, that's when I think it's the Minister of Finance right? He said with immediate effect, because you know that's a thing. With immediate effect,
I remember
the
that.
duty is in USD, right?
Oh man.
And I was like, literally, I remember
You're like,
thinking,
what? Where is this dude coming from?
what is going on? And the thing is, we had a plan. Like, it's not to say we didn't plan. We're like, okay, it's gonna arrive at this time, and we've got all the money saved up. Everything is good. Everything is, and it's just one of those things, right? Like, so I don't think, sometimes like now, I think it's important to kind of you have to train yourself to have peace of mind with things that, yeah, anything can happen, and just be comforted that it's not just you. Just you.
Wow.
Like,
Thanks, Jam.
Man, I can imagine, man. I can
yeah.
imagine.
So
Wow.
it's
You're waiting,
hectic.
so ready
Like,
to whip. And wow.
yeah, So it's just something that you
So
have
how
to
long
deal
did
with.
you guys continue using combis after that?
No, we didn't. So what happened is, if you remember, now they passed a law and they were like, okay, if you had shipped your vehicle before there was like a date cut off, they were like, okay, you guys can stick to. So we managed, like, we were like, whoo, but like, the stress from that point until the moment when they were like, oh,
exactly.
fine. Yeah. Like, hectic. Like, it's not fun at all. Like, so, planning.
That's a crazy story. That's a
Plan,
crazy story.
like, still plan. Yeah. No, just plan, but like pinch of salt, like, all the time. And I think also it's
Be
important,
ready.
like, to know that even when stuff happens, if anything hits the fan, that's where it's important, like, who you're moving with, like the people you surround yourself with. Like, Fari, what you're saying with your parents, where it's people who support like the direction you want to go. If you say, look, this is what I'm doing, that, okay, I've got my parents moving with me. You know what I mean? Like, it helps. You don't want to be alone when the plan flops.
Yeah.
That's another thing. So yeah, but planning.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like the vibe I'm getting generally is like the plan is no plan, eh? Like, and it's
Yeah.
what's so interesting, or at least what was very very interesting about that aspect for me that actually got me thinking was way back then, like I think the perfect example is when I was like in primary school, early primary school there. I think my uncle was like my age right now, you know? And when I used to look at him, I was like, you know what? This guy has like everything all figured out. This guy's got a job, he's got a car, you know. We're always going watching drag races at Donnybrook there, you know. We're just he's such a cool guy, man. He's sorted, you know. Like I saw that in everyone who was like my age when I was still that young. And then when I got to being that age, I yeah, I'm like in the early stages of really trying to figure things out. And I look at my peers and I'm like, hey fellas, I mean, I'm dying here. Like, how y'all's doing, you know? And it was the general vibe with all of my peers, the one that would open up to me and the one that I'm still close to the point that we're experiencing life together. You all find out that actually uh, most of us don't have anything figured out, and it's still that whole, hey, I'm gonna take a leap of faith into this and see where it gets me. Someone would just be like, hey, I'm just gonna start selling this stuff and see where that takes me. Someone's like, hey man, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna go to university, I'm gonna get that degree, that master's, and see where that takes me. Other people are like, hey man, fortunate enough to have a bit of spare cash from my folks, so I'm just going to start something of my own and build it up from there. So I guess it was a bit comforting and reassuring as well, realizing that Kuti everyone's just trying their best to live by it through to the next day, especially if you're in Zim, because man, it's just chaos, man. Like you can't relax in Zim. So it was a bit comforting and reassuring that, you know, the people that you're hanging out with, they understand, you know. And even I also feel like I'm fortunate enough to have parents that are open about it. Like, hey man, like as much as I had gone to this stage in life when I was your age, there were also these circumstances that had me thinking, hey man, do I have this thing figured out? You know? So surrounding yourself with the right people, definitely a plus, because otherwise you just end up feeling like you're all alone, you know? And yet you're not, like everyone's in the
Like
same
you're
place.
lagging behind everyone else.
Yeah, like there is exactly, and I like that you use the word lagging. That's always the case because, and I think I'll blame it a lot on social media as well because, for example, if you're going to check the gram, everyone's doing all right. Like go to Instagram, everyone is right, everyone's lit, things are fine. But but if you get to so you do get to a point where you feel like no, I'm lagging behind because you know this person is posing in an exotic place doing stuff, this place is posing at this place enjoying themselves, this guy is posing with, you know, hey, I just got this, I just got that, and you end up with all those, you know, all those people you see that look like are making it big time, you just end up feeling like, nah, I am lagging behind. And yeah, I easily get depressed with that, you know. Depression settles in like, hey man, will I make it? I mean, um, I'm lagging behind and yet I'm trying so hard. So it's interesting that there is no plan. Like in a lot of the cases, all you're just doing is trying something, seeing if it works. If it doesn't, I guess the best is to try something else until you
Try
have
something
some of
else.
the stuff figured out along the way, you know, because yeah, it's just interesting. It's just interesting, like reflecting back. Uh, Things look a lot different when you're within a certain space that you used to see back then as an observer. Like you, even simple things, like I'm pretty sure some of us are now have moved out from your parents' cribs, and you know the whole thing of bills, the whole thing of groceries, the whole thing of these like monthly recurring expenses that you otherwise didn't look at before, and you start looking at them now, you know.
Yeah.
It looks, because our folks do it every day, you're like, I think this is easy peasy. If I get a job, this is gonna be easy. But you know, behind the scenes, probably there are spreadsheets, formulas, and PowerPoint presentations on how to structure all of those things so that it works out in the end. So yeah, like it's interesting. It's just something I wanted to put out there that yeah, there's no plan and you're not lagging. You're just in a different direction. But yeah,
I
that's
will
Yeah,
run your own
for
yeah.
me
race.
that.
Be your own person.
I
Do your own
definitely
thing.
hear you and I agree.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's what's been on my mind, especially in this COVID era. Like, I see a lot of people that are just stressed out, man. And I'm like, hey, don't worry, we're all stressed out. But have a bit of comfort in numbers because yeah, whatever solution that's gonna come out of this, it's for everyone. It's not for a select few because it's not a select few that are facing what you are facing.
Amen to that.
It
So,
ended up
so, so
philosophical again.
but that's good though. That's what's on your mind, and that's what we want to hear. So, you know,
Yeah.
next time someone watches a video, they'll look at it like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that conversation I had. All right, so, we went to the length today. Thank you very much, guys, for your time. I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna let Shami sign us off today.
What? Can we
Yeah, my third
plan
try.
these things? Like,
We don't plan anything. Like we just do. You know what?
There's no plan.
All right. Okay. So I guess I'm signing out. This is literally with immediate effect. Like we just spoke about this. Like, okay, guys. So from Valentine, Fari, Ed, and me, Shami, thanks for listening. We will catch you guys in the next one if we have not been cancelled. Bye.
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 Thanks, guys.